Hey guys, here's the gear for today. I'm going to use the Nacet blade, and today looks like the 440th shave, so nice round number there. Cerberus, a recent release from Mammoth, Declaration Grooming, and Noble Otter. And the soap was made by Declaration Grooming, the soap base. As you can see, it looks like Declaration Grooming's Milksteak container, and that is the base. And the scent was made by Mammoth, and if you have the splash, then that is the contribution by Noble Otter. I've heard their splash is really good. So we're going to be trying that out for the very first time. It's a brand new soap. I missed out on the EDT when I tried to buy it. There was a problem with the website. I didn't get the EDT. Going to try this Manchurian Badger out for the first time, a Simpson's brush. You don't see too many Simpsons on my channel because they're really expensive, and if you buy them anywhere close to retail prices, then you're kind of getting they're just other brushes that are better for the price, to me at least. And so but I got this one used at a great price, the Duke, and it's the size 3, and it's the Manchurian Badger. So let's give that guy a try. I have tried the best, and I've tried the super. I had high hopes for the super, and it's a little nicer than the best, but it wasn't super to me. And so those lower grades of Badger for the Simpsons company just don't fit what I like in a Badger brush. And then you add the extra big price tag to those, and no thank you. I decided to go vintage. This is a nice smooth 40s style, is what we kind of call it these days. Gillette Super Speed. The rest of the Super Speeds kind of have a flared tip and a little bit thicker body there, but this guy is called the 40s style, and he is, to me, smoother than the rest of them. And so I think he might be a nice handler. And give him a shot here for the Nacet blade, because that fourth pass or so that I do against the grain stroke, that really benefits from a nice smooth razor. That particular stroke, the first pass may be a little more tuggy than with other kinds of razors, but at this age in this blade's life, this stage, that's what I meant to say, it seems nicer when I back off on the aggression, so that I can get that against the grain right here, nice and comfy. If it has a decent level of aggression to it, then I can't do the against the grain. All right, let me, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to use the Jello mold that I've been using for the last while. I really like the way it makes lather. I like several things about it, but I noticed when I was using the Paladin brush yesterday that, you know, that clinking there, with some of my brush handles, I don't really care. They're very casual handles, but I think maybe if it's a handle that I want to, I mean, those kind of clinks, they can add up over time, right? And so that might be the weakness, and I did identify that during various shaves. I might try to kind of press some of these things just kind of stick out, these flutes. They stick out farther. When I'm trying to get the brush into the corners, I tend to give it a good whack every once in a while, and that will build up over time. So I might have to try to modify this bowl a little bit if I want to keep using it. Now, if I've got a big splay Badger brush, then maybe I won't even come close. So that might be a good thing for me to remember. Get my face wet. So regarding the soap, I know that I'm a fan of the Milksteak base. It does get a little slow if I don't load enough water into it, and that's what I did yesterday for some of the shave. But another thing about Declaration Grooming's soaps is that, especially the ones released under Milksteak, the scent is just kind of low in a good many cases. So even though I've liked some of them, the strength just hasn't been enough to make me enjoy it during the shave. So a little bit more than a quarter teaspoon here, and that should be plenty. So we'll go switch back to my 3D printed bowl that I've used so long. Press this into the bottom. The scent notes for Cerberus are ones that attracted me for the most part, like patchouli, sandalwood, labdanum. Those definitely occur in some of my favorite soaps, some of my favorite fragrances. There's also jasmine. Sometimes it's nice to have a little floral hint in there, help out the accord. And then two things I don't really know how they smell: stone fruit and opoponax. I have no idea if I am pronouncing that one right. So we're getting the last little bit off of this 1/4 teaspoon measuring. I need to get my real one. It's a little bit easier to deal with. All right. So there we go. We'll see how the Manchurian from Simpson does. It's a pricey brush, but hey, if you like the way it works, you can afford it, then great, right? And I bought this one used and a pretty good deal. Otherwise, I would have left it alone. Left it for somebody else to try out. The tips have softened a good bit from soaking for a while. I don't know, 15 minutes to 20. Ooh, this has that little handle I don't really care for. These little ridges here, my hand, my fingers, they're just kind of, it's too big for this handle maybe. Let me tilt you down. I realize it does, do good things, like give you a little bit of grip, lets you know where the handle is in your hand because of the presence of those ridges. I'm feeling some backbone here, some resistance as I kind of press in, but that's something that can change over time. I have been pleased with the backbone of the two other Simpsons brushes I used, the Best and the Super. I know that I can definitely remember the Best. Tried it several times, and I enjoyed the backbone. Kind of a nice medium backbone. This seems like it has more. We'll just have to see how it translates once you get it in the face. This is just a tiny handle. I guess it's suited for you face latherers. So I'm getting, something fruity coming up. The jasmine is not being very florally at this point. What am I smelling? That's some neat stuff. From the tub, it's kind of a nice, warm, dark scent, and it doesn't match very well with the vicious description of the Cerberus monster, the dog, the multi-headed dog that guards the gates of hell or something like that. I would think there'd be some musk or something like that in there, but it was kind of sweet and warm and nice when I smelled it right from the dry tub. And so we'll see if it changes into something a little bit more dangerous as we turn it into a lather. Yeah, something is coming out, almost like a smokiness. I'm gonna have to, so this is kind of blind in the sense of I didn't look up what stone fruit or opoponax smelled like. Maybe one of those, maybe the opoponax is kind of a smoky type flavor, scent. I didn't add enough water last time. See if I can avoid that mistake this time. Even if I like this knot, this handle might actually be the thing that causes me to sell this brush. It's just so small. I mean, look at that. If I reach forward and grab it, then up that way, it's just kind of difficult for me to hold comfortably. Simpson's does have several different handle types. So I guess if I like this knot, and I don't like the handle, I can keep an eye out for a good deal on a Manchurian with a nice handle. Trying to hold the little jigger in a way where I don't get it all soapy. Yeah, something's popping up that's really decent. That does kind of smell, yeah, animalistic. Almost like rubber, like a synthetic, like when you unpack a. And this is a hint. It only reminds me of that. It's not exactly that. Like maybe when I open a inner tube for a bike tire, and I'm going to put that on the bike. You know, the rubber, you know, that smell is in the box, and so you pull it out of the box and you kind of get that. And then, oh, now see, I'm smelling some things combining with that scent, and those are really quite nice. They're balancing out. They're making it not seem like a rubber smell. I like that. See if I can smell it during the. It's definitely not coming up to my nose very strongly at all. So this may be kind of a weak one for people who like them like I do, kind of strong. Yesterday I ended up using about 22 milliliters of water, I think, for the extra Milksteak that I had added in and stuff. Maybe I'll get close to that. I think I'm at 17 or 18 right now. I think the reason I kept it kind of dry yesterday is I thought I remember making a note that I needed to run this base a little drier than I usually do. Not a whole lot of lather here in the bowl, but I bet it's enough to do the job. So that's about 20 right there, maybe 21. Just a tiny, see the saddle here where I could really grab hold of things, especially with my middle finger here, just to kind of keep control of the brush, is really kind of small, and it's right at the end of the handle. So it doesn't give you a lot of leverage to work the brush. All right, I bet let's try this one out and see what we get. See how elastic he is. We'll see if I took him too far with the water or if he's just right. Let's see how it goes. About the density of the brush, softness of the tips. Let's see what we get. Well, it's not really shoving my face around like some of the dense brushes do, so that's good. It doesn't feel super soft. It's almost like the tips are soft, but it's almost like it's got a lot of backbone behind those soft tips. Let's get some more lather in there. I think the lather was leaving the middle of the knot, and so that was definitely affecting how it felt on my face. Losing the slickness, the creaminess inside the knot. You can also do swiping, painting motion here to kind of move some of the lather around in the brush. Well, I'm glad that some of these other notes have come out and they are a little bit more animalistic and kind of dark. I like that. Not really dark per se. You know, there's some other soaps out there like Fougere, the Fougere Antique. Why am I having a trouble remembering that one? It's that the black one with the red, you know, Satan face on it or whatever, from Barrister and Mann. I really like it, and I don't know why. It's Fougere Aromatique or something like that. And this is, and not only does this little handle hard to hold on to, but then you can see how soapy it gets. Then it's a real chore. You got to do this kind of death grip thing to keep a hold of it. And this is when I really miss having a sink. It's harder to rinse the handles off. And as you can see, we have thinned down this lather because and this wasn't thinned down just now by me putting it in the water. It was just the handles. I put it in upside down. The lather itself just is a little bit on the hydrated side, and I can always go back and get a little bit more, but I think I'm pretty close to being fine here. Working it into my skin, it's going to perform just fine, that's for sure. Maybe I went the opposite. Yesterday I didn't load enough water, and this time I put it a little bit too much. See, it's so wet that we've got lather flinging around. Alright, so we'll see how the 40s style does with the Nacet. Oh, that's pretty good. If I keep with these shorter strokes, I'm not really getting much of a tugging feeling at all. But this is going to be a really nice shave. Moving through there with just a little bit of tugginess in some parts. Rinse. Since I've got a lather that's pretty wet, I'm definitely don't want to have any extra water on my face when I put this next pass on. As far as the knot goes, I think I'm liking it pretty well. It started to feel pretty good. The tips, see how runny it is. I've got to try to conserve that. I don't have a ton of lather here. The tips are pretty soft. It still has a good bit of backbone. A lot of Manchurians do. I would prefer if this one was maybe lofted a little higher, but this is a wet lather. Oh, you know what I could do? Of course, I can always just go back to the puck if I wanted to, but I think I'll just deal with it. Real shame all this goodness is getting wasted. I should be okay, because this was the second pass, and I know I've got 2 more passes of lather in the bowl there. Cross grain now. Oh, see, and that is comfy. Now hopefully it's still going to cut hairs while being this comfy. Able to move pretty fast with it. It's a pretty mild shaver usually, and so it's gonna have to work extra hard and kind of extra dumb if you're gonna cut yourself with this. At least with my skin. I don't have tough skin, but at least in my situation. I mean, you'd have to go sideways, or you'd have to come upon a wrinkle, you know, and try to push through a wrinkle or something like that. All right, that was really nice. Comfy. Well, I'll tell you, I am able to kind of have the scent be a part of my area here. It is right up my alley. I'm so glad that I joined in and grabbed this soap. Dabbed off the excess water from my skin there, so hopefully it won't be too wet again. Yeah, I've got enough lather here. Yeah, this is a neat scent. I don't know if the wife is going to approve, and so maybe it's good that I didn't get the EDT. But it's also not really in your face. It's kind of got a like smooth and animalistic thing going on at the same time. Use a little slant upward here to get a little bit more aggressive cut on that, since we're dealing with a mild razor. Make sure my neck is tilting my chin up to get a nice taut skin surface. And I'm going to go cross grain here in the opposite direction as before. And then the next pass I'll do the against the grain. We'll see how it goes. Face wet. Yeah, I'm enjoying this one. I'm enjoying this scent. The jasmine is just a hint, a little hinted player in there. He's not very strong at all. I'll have to find out what opoponax is and stone fruit. I'm not smelling anything fruity in here, so it's that piece must be bringing something else to the table, or he's maybe a small supporting player. It was a wet lather, but I tell you what, something in me really likes the rinses, and so if the rinses go badly, if they're too dry or too thick or something, then that affects my perception of the shave. And while this has been a really thin lather, the addition of the water, the slickness there on my face is really very nice, and it does feel good and luxurious, and like I'm doing the right thing, like I have a nice shaving surface, and I've got nice healthy skin. That's kind of the perception I'm getting here. This is really just kind of an unnecessary pickup at this point. Occasional straggler, very smooth here. All right, now let's see how this little brush does, little razor does with the against the grain part. Oh yeah, that's nice. And then if I do this two-angled approach, coming at it from two different angles, then I think that cuts it down close enough to where I could come back with a full tilt against the grain run if I wanted to, but I don't need to because this gets it nice and close. All right, final rinse. So that lather, while doing the job really well, had excellent slickness and glide. It was a little too wet in the sense that it just got me messy. My hopeful thought is to back off on the water enough to find and see how it feels to me in terms of the slickness when I reduce the water enough to where it stops just dripping everywhere and making a big mess. I don't mind it normally if I'm in a bathroom, but I'm not in a bathroom anymore, and I don't like to try to clean up soap dollops from my floor and just from my wall, since it's not really a bathroom surface anymore. I guess I can get rid of those guys there. So I went over to the bathroom just to make sure I got a good rinse. I accidentally rinsed my razor in the first pass in my clean water instead of over in my swish bowl, and so that made it to be kind of a little more soapy than usual. Let's take a look at my the closeness here, see what we were able to get. Hey, that's pretty good. I'll take that. A little length in some of the tips, but pretty happy with that nice close cut. Most jobs would not have a problem if you walked in like that. So Cerberus, just strong enough to where I was able to enjoy it during the scent, and definitely if I had my nose near the bowl. Sometimes when I was mixing it up, there was enough agitation to have it kind of come up and join my nose a little bit if I worked it up pretty quickly. And I smell it lightly on my face. Sure, I might like it a little stronger, but I think it's very nice. It's certainly unique. I don't think there are a lot out there that are like this, that are kind of smooth and warm at the same time, being I think it's really neat how the jasmine mixes with that kind of an industrial type scent to transform into that kind of an animalistic note. It almost has a woody nature to it as well. It's a really neat, a really neat blend of something that's reaching out and touching the woody spectrum, has a hint, just barely a hint of floral to kind of rein in that kind of rubbery industrial type scent that I really enjoy. But don't let the rubbery industrial word scare you away, because that's not the best way to characterize it. It's just a piece, and then they all blend together so well. And there's probably a better word than that, that inner tube rubbery smell. But man, this is just a great issue, a great instance of some disparate pieces being put together to form a really neat accord, a neat symphony, joining, if you will, to where the result, the sum is greater than the result is greater than the sum of its parts, for sure. At least to my nose. So let us take my little guy here, and we'll put the 440th, 300 on the wrapper, 100 here, and 40 there on the Nacet. And we'll go to 450, and we'll stop there for a while and use some other blades. So wonderful. Now, here's the big question. What do I do? I've got this neat scent on me. I don't have a splash for it. I want to smell it a little bit more. So I think what I'm going to do is just leave it alone, not really put on a balm or anything. And then later on down the line, in a few hours or something, whenever I feel this scent kind of dissipating, I'll throw on something then. So the knot in the Simpson, I was pretty happy with it. the knot part. The handle's frustrating, but we'll use it some more. And you know how sometimes your hand will kind of naturally find a place to be if you just kind of just do it. We'll see if that happens. Another one I almost used today, and then I remembered about the Simpson, was this little guy from AP Shave Co. with a 2-bed knot. It's synthetic. I'm probably not going to like it, but I'm looking forward to trying it. A lot of people speak about it online, so it'd be good for if I was able to be able to address that one as well. See if it's just like the other synthetics that bothers me, or if it's something different. All right, excellent. So now that this guy's been kind of towel stropped and dried off, you can see that there's a little bit of fuzziness on the tips. You know, they did absorb some water, and so they'll get softer over time, even more soft. I did enjoy them. It did take a little while to have the brush feel good. I think I made it through the first pass, and then it started to feel better, so maybe a longer soak time could help this guy. He's like a $200 brush, and to me it's not worth it. But if you're a big English UK shaving vintage fan, and you like the history of the Simpsons name, then you know, go for it. Even better if you can find one used, then it might really be closer to its value. To me, I would definitely recommend like an Umo knot, or the Maggard super high density badger knot that they have, for a lot cheaper, and then you can have a nicer handle put on it, and you'll get a similar experience for a whole lot less cost, if not a better experience for a lot less cost. So that's my those are my immediate thoughts. Not liking the handle at first, but we'll use it a few more times and see how things land. But I'm really there is a big difference between the Manchurian knot here and the super knot. For instance, the super felt a lot more wiry, less fine. It felt the tips were kind of soft, but the wiriness kind of behind those tips was really coming forth, where this one felt more soft. It does have medium backbone, a little bit higher than medium, I would say, and it's right on the edge of where I might like my zone to be. I did wish maybe for a little bit less springiness, but it's still, if I had a good handle on this, I'd probably still keep it around and see how it would change in the future. It will relax a little bit over time if I were to keep it, because as you can see, some of it'll start to bloom even more as the fibers kind of relax a little bit. And that's going to help you in terms of the backbone. But in general, it was a nice, soft experience on the face. It did have some springiness to launch that lather across the room a little bit, but it's not too springy for me at this point, and it can only relax from here, I think. And so I think the handle right now is what might make me find it another home if I do. But that's my first impression of the Manchurian. I like the knot quite a good bit. There are others maybe I like better because they have maybe a little bit less backbone, maybe a little softer bristles, that sort of thing. All right, very good. The 40s style razor did well, very well. Super speed, I should say, and it did nicely in terms of giving me a good close cut with a good deal of comfort. Very happy with that. I am continuing to enjoy the scent of the Cerberus as it's around me and unfolds a little bit more. A really big fan so far of this one. Another big hit from Mammoth, it seems, that fits my nose very well. So it's been a fun experience with the new soap and the new brush. So there we go. I think it's a great way to cap off 440 shaves. All right, you guys. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys take care. Hope there's something in